But I think that part of what coaching does is that you are not just learning self-compassion, but you're also learning to be brave and courageous. I feel like with Vanessa in this coaching program, which is called self-mastery, I'm not just learning to understand myself and be compassionate to myself. I'm learning to celebrate myself, and I'm learning to push myself a little bit harder because I know that I am capable. I know what I am capable of now, which I didn't before. So I think that there's that last push, from being not okay to okay, and from being okay to amazing. But in my first few calls with Vanessa, she would always have this moment where she'd say, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge where you showing up today. You showing up today is you showing up for yourself and knowing that you want to do better and focusing on how you can be better and spending time on that. So I don't know, I think it took me by surprise. The process of let's just acknowledge that you showed up today. And for a while I thought, well, why do I need to take a moment to pause and do this? But actually think pausing to recognize what you're doing and recognizing what you're already doing to serve yourself creates this feeling of self-sufficiency that we aspire to. We don't just want to say, okay, these things got done. We want to say, I made these things happen. These things happened because of me. And so you're looking in the immediate, and you're looking over many years in the past and saying, actually, all of who I am right now is something that I did and I created. These things would not have happened without me. Therefore, I am capable of everything that I set out to do in the future. I think there are still decisions that I still feel like this is something that I'm actively working on. But what I have learned is different tools to respond. If you're met with a decision, I think the immediate reaction is to let the anxiety go all over the place. At least that happens to me. I have hundreds of thoughts about it that are not necessarily coherent or useful to the decision at hand. And what I've done with Vanessa is, I think, first to understand, to acknowledge myself that this decision might be hard. So I think just to recognize the problem and also to recognize the fact that I'm showing up and I'm still recommitting to make this decision. I think the second piece is learning the physical response. So I'm anxious right now, and listening to your body, like listening to your stomach and listening to, any tightness in your mind, or for me, it's the back of the neck. So listening to your body and understanding what's happening right now. Am I afraid? Am I sad? What is this telling me about how I feel about this decision? And then learning how to process that. How do I process now that I know that I'm angry, or now that I know that I'm afraid? What am I going to do? And how am I going to sit with my body for a moment and remind myself that I'm safe and that everything's okay? And that this decision doesn't need to happen right now. I think the third piece is also just taking time. So giving myself time to make a decision as opposed to rushing into it. So I think those are three concrete ways that she's really helped me approach this. And I really look forward to, I think, learning some more tools that I can use. When I started with Vanessa in the spring, I had this goal that I worked out with her. That was, my opinion matters, and I am capable of the things that I set out to do. And I am accountable to myself. And these were just three things that I wanted to feel by the end of our 6 months together. And I remember saying at the time to her in our very early sessions that it would have been incredible. It would have been unfathomable for me to really have confidence and believe those words by the end of 6 months. But I can tell you, after we just finished our 6-month cycle and are starting another, that is absolutely how I feel. I do feel as though my opinion matters, and it's because through our work together, I have vocalized it. I vocalized it over 100 times, and it continues to matter. And it matters, if not to anyone else, then it matters to me, and it matters to voice it. And also, I'm capable of the things that I set out to do. I moved cities during that time, and I set up, a safe environment for me to work and for me to be. And I pursued many different relationships, and I pursued relationships that scared me. And I think most of all, I continued to check in with myself at every step of the way to make sure that not only was I voicing my opinions and not only was I reassuring myself that I was capable of these things, but also that I was following my values too. And I think the last few months has been focusing not only on voicing my opinion, but also clarifying many conflicting opinions, clarifying when I make a decision that I'm following in line with like my core values. And I think at the start of our work together, I was thinking, well, my value is just to work hard and to work towards my compelling why in a very abstract way. Whereas I think at the end of 6 months, what we've done is to clarify not only what those values are, but what the concrete goals are to reach that compelling why. I think that much of the way that I would describe my confidence level and how it's shifted over time is with the metaphor of being in a relationship with yourself. I think how I would describe myself at the beginning of 6 months is someone who was in a relationship that was struggling. I was in a relationship with someone who didn't really believe in me, was always second guessing things that I said or things that I did. And, through talking it out, I think, and through getting to know who this other person was, I slowly found someone who was different than I was, and who maybe had conflicting opinions with who I am. But I think that we were able to kind of reconcile those over time. And slowly, I think this other person started to support me and started to say, okay, even if I don't agree with that, like, we're going to compromise on this. Or even if we really struggled with that, we're going to laugh about that instead. And I think that is how I would say my confidence has changed over time, is that I went from a relationship where someone was really, I don't want to say holding me back, but someone was not on my side. Part of me was not on my side. And now I feel like I kind of have a cheerleader with me or a team with me. And I know that I'm like focused on a singular goal. I think there's two things that gave me the most freedom through this program. And the first is the compelling why, which we established pretty early on in the program. And that's why I do what I do, why I do the work that I do, what my vision is. And it's something outside myself. So I'm not just doing this program because I want to feel better and to feel more professional, but I'm doing this program because I am doing this in service of other people. And I found communities that I want to love, and I want to show my love to. And so that compelling why has kind of opened up all of the selfishness that I think, and the ego that I think comes from just being a young person and just kind of growing older and learning that we're not going to survive this world if we just continue to work harder. We're only going to survive it because we are actively working for a team and we're actively working for communities outside of ourselves. And that just took actually a lot of anxiety out of what I do, because now I have a vision of happiness. There's a lot more happiness on the other side because it's not small, it's expansive, and it includes everyone in the world, everyone who I, all of the communities that I've come to love. And I would say the second thing that has brought me freedom is what I call the time collapse. And what I really think that is the same self-sufficiency that we had talked about earlier. It's the idea that we already are enough. And even if we did nothing today, and even if we do nothing tomorrow, it's going to be okay because we have already accomplished a lot. We've already come really far. And we have time. We have a lot more time in the next day, in the next week. We have many, many hours to continue becoming who we are and the person who we want to be. And we have years and decades actually to do that. And so it doesn't all have to happen right now. And so what Vanessa did for me was to kind of take the past, the present, and the future and kind of put them all together, right? Like we are still ever changing. We're a different person in this minute than we were 2 minutes ago. We're a different person today than we were yesterday. And it's because of the experiences that we've had. And that fluidity of time has given me a lot of peace of mind and the ability to kind of move forward with confidence without putting too much pressure on any given moment and any given year of my life. Kind of amazing to think back and think that it happened in such a short period of time. I think Vanessa was definitely the reason that I wanted to continue with the coaching program. And I think part of it is that I have absolute faith that that she believes in me. She's going to do whatever it takes to help me clarify what my thoughts are and what is confusing to me at any given moment. And I have absolute faith in her ability to just untangle what those thoughts happen to be at any given moment. And there's a lot of moments when I show up and I think, I don't want to spend, I don't have enough time for this week. But what she does is makes all of that time worth it. Her entire Zoom environment is incredibly relaxing. And I think that she actively, does the mental work beforehand to hold space for the other person and whatever that looks like. So especially if I come in and I'm incredibly anxious, then she'll ask me, whoa, let's slow down and let's sit here for a moment and let's unravel what's happening. And that takes a lot of forethought. So I would say she's always well prepared and able to kind of take me in whatever mental state that I happen to be in that moment. I think that what it means to have someone like Vanessa believe in you is that she does believe in you and she believes in me and my vision. But I think so much of that belief that she teaches me is actually a belief in all people. All people have this capacity to fight for other people. All people have the capacity to learn about themselves and to sit with themselves and love themselves and celebrate themselves. And to me, she's not only teaching me to believe in myself by believing in me, but she's also teaching me that the more that I believe in myself, the more that I'll have faith in every person that I meet. And so I think that she models this kind of suspension of belief for all people and the good of all people and the willingness to work for others. I think it's really hard to articulate how much Vanessa has meant to me and how grateful I feel for her. I would recommend Vanessa to anyone who feels like they can do much better and they already have this confidence in themselves and they know that they have something to share with the world. I'd recommend her to other young people. I'd recommend her to other Asian Americans, other women, other people of color. I think that she is someone who was born to do this and was born to mentor other people. And I consistently feel grateful for her throughout the week. And I think not only is coaching important to dedicate time for ourselves, to learn about ourselves, but also to reaffirm what power comes from one-on-one dialogue and what power comes from opening up to another person about things that we're struggling with. And to learn specifically in this program, simple tools that will help us be stronger and be braver in the decisions that we make every day.